Now I'm assuming that you like living, right? You like the idea of your family having a good life. You like the idea of your future kids having a good life. Well, you need a healthy earth for that. If you want the world to give you everything you need to give the world everything it needs. Without a world to live in, life is pointless. You won't be alive. If you have no earth, there will be no jobs. There will be no war. There will be no friends. There will be no family. So instead of focusing on all these other issues, why not focus on a healthy planet first? All these people out there like, well, if the United States does it, doesn't mean the whole world's gonna do it. That's like a little kid mindset. Well, if they're not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it either. You don't need to have a mindset of a little kid. This is a serious issue. A whole party of people seem to not identify it. We as a people need to identify what matters most. Now, I know a lot of you guys are worried about, oh, what about the oil jobs? What about the oil jobs? Well, if the world's gone, then what's the point of having an oil job? You'll all be dead. Your planet will be gone. The world will be drowned in the rising water levels. Why are you so worried about losing a few oil jobs? The amount of jobs that come in from bringing clean energy in is going to bring in a lot of jobs too. Don't worry about the jobs right now. Don't think that we have unrealistic ideas. We don't expect you to switch from oil in one day. It's a plan that takes time. That's why we need to do it right now. Right now is key to change. It takes a while. We're not expecting you to switch all your cars out in one day. It's a decision that takes a really long time, a lot of man hours, and that's why we need to do it now. Part of Florida will be submerged underwater by 2100 by just the way things are right now. People said the temperature is going to raise by 1 or 2 degrees in 50 or 100 years. Now they say it's going to raise about 5 degrees, and they changed that just over the last year or two. Things are increasing faster than you would ever believe. This is the most important issue. It's the only issue you should be thinking about right now. There's plenty of other issues, in the military. You need to focus on that. And if we started focusing on climate change and got everybody to agree with climate change, that doesn't mean that we're not going to let you use oil in your military vehicles right off the bat. It's going to be something that takes time. But you can't make a change unless people acknowledge the situation. 97 to 99% of scientists recommend that this is a real thing. Are you going to say that all of those scientists are wrong? All the people that put so much time in? No one ever questions scientists in any other way. But in this way, they're like, oh, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. Look around. Look at the factories. Are you kidding me? It's common sense that that's affecting it. Yes, I know that volcanoes, natural occurrences, and solar flares contribute to the destruction of the ozone layer and stuff causing pollution. I understand that. But that's just part of it. We contribute at least half of the problem. It's obvious. And the people don't acknowledge this, don't see this. What's there not to see? Are you kidding me? Seriously. Seriously. Look at it. Can you tell me that that's not us contributing to the problem? Really? And all for your precious little oil jobs. No jobs are nobody needs a job if they're dead. So thanks for destroying the planet, because that's what you're doing for not acknowledging the problem. Now, the next thing I tend to hear all the time are a lot of these people be like, well, it's not going to affect me. I'm not even going to be alive by that point. Do you realize how selfish of a statement that is? Well, I'm not going to be alive, so it doesn't matter because it's me, 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 me. It's not all about you. Don't you ever get a good feeling by helping people, even if it doesn't do anything for you? Why does everything have to have an impact on you? Why can't you be proud of yourself for having an impact on others? You should be happy to help the world as a whole. Who cares if you're not alive at that point? Life's still going to go on after you die. Life's not going to just be like, stop, be like, oh, he died, everybody killed themselves. Seriously, you think, oh, okay, okay, my life's important. I'm not going to be affected. Do you hear yourself? How do you sleep at night being so selfish? What's What's it like being so selfish? I'd like to hear it. Tell me, tell me. Do you realize how selfish you are when you say, "Oh, well, it's not going to affect me"? Seriously, you guys realize how ridiculous this is, right? Well, it's not going to affect me. You're ridiculous. I mean, come on. Think about it. I'm not even trying to be an ass here. I'm just literally thinking about the problem. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? You don't want to do something because it doesn't affect you specifically. That's got to be one of the most selfish things I've ever heard. Something doesn't have to affect you specifically to make you want to have a difference. You should be glad to help the nation as a whole. And if you're not like that, you honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'd say that to your freaking face. Seriously, I'm in a wheelchair. Somebody could easily attack me if they wanted to, but I wouldn't be afraid. I'd say it to your face because if you're really gonna be like that, you're ridiculous. Seriously, just think about it. I hope that when you go to sleep tonight, if you think like that it keeps you up, because you deserve to think about it. Try to get out of your little unicorns and rainbows bubble and think about the problem. And finally, the third thing I hear a lot, and I want to give you guys a disclaimer before I start this. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in an afterlife. I know not everybody does, and I'm not going to hold that against you. Everybody has their own belief systems, and I accept that. Everybody's different. You know, if everybody was the same, do you realize how boring life would be? Different mindsets are important, and it's important that we have the idea to express that. But I hear a lot of things be like, well, God's the only one that knows the end time. If the world's going to end no matter what. And maybe way off in the future it will. But don't you think if you want to think in the mindset of God, even if you're an atheist, just hear me out on this. Say you want to think in the mindset of God, and God gave us this planet, God created us. Don't you think that the God, if you believe in, would want you to try to make this world last as long as you can? Don't you think he would look down on you if he gave you this earth? And you're like, well, it's going to end anyway, so why should I even try? I actually think you'd be upset by that. So if you are a believer and you want to let God know that you appreciate what he gave you, then try to defend it because even though it might end, and it probably will end eventually, you should fight to save what he gave to you. Do you realize how special of a gift it is if you believe in God? Him giving you an earth like this? And then you should just squander it because you're like, well, it'll end one day. So I think that covers everything. Covered the selfish side. I covered the science behind it. And if you look at things with the eyes of God, look at it like that. He gave you an amazing gift. Why would you squander it just because you're like, well, someday it's going to end? I hope you guys watch this video and see what I'm talking about. And I know plenty of people that are religious that acknowledge climate change. There's a lot of people out there, and it is getting better. I've even heard a few Republicans even acknowledge it. But I just want you guys to know to look at it from each way. Look at it from the ridiculous selfish side as to if you're not acknowledging it and you're like, well, it's not affecting me, that's pretty selfish. Look at the side of God gave you this gift, and if you believe in God, you shouldn't squander it just because you're like, well, it's going to end one day. And then look at all the science behind it. So from every facet of life, every belief system, not acknowledging this is a problem. I hope that you guys can see this. And I know not all of you guys will agree with me. I'm not going to get all butthurt about it. I will admit, when people leave comments or like douchey comments, I'm probably going to get butthurt about it. I do. I'm a person. But that covers it. That's the three facets of life. And I hope you guys look into this a little more, not just my video. I hope you guys see what I see because it seems pretty obvious to me.